Hey everybody, it's Keith with the L1 Automotive Training Channel, and welcome to this week's Tech Questions Quickies video. Gary B. wrote another one. Keith, I purchased and watched the J2534 module programming class, became a member and watched network class. I'm happy to say I feel like I'm getting more than my money's worth, so thank you. Well, thank you, Gary. I'm glad you see value in that. I bought a CARDAC 2 in 2017, but I know its coverage is now limited by some of the newer vehicles. Can you help me understand, or at least generally speaking, which vehicles I cannot program? I hear about Global A or Global Architecture. Is that a limit? You mentioned that the Tech Questions Quickie number 3 that a CARDAC Plus 3 would be needed for a 2015 Ultima CVT, and that surprised me since it's 5 years old. If you happen to answer the question on a video, please don't read the next bit. I don't want to bash DrewTech. And then he goes through his experience with DrewTech and Chrysler using the YTech 2. So I won't read that. I can tell you that Chrysler software is severely broken on the J2534 side. And I'll happy to announce that myself and Isaac Rodisel, who I usually recommend people if they're going to buy a programming laptop or any programming equipment from, to contact Isaac. We're working with Chrysler, specifically with a Chrysler engineer, on a little email strain. We're trying to go through and fix some of these issues and see if we can create some kind of fix. Because Isaac provides laptops to hundreds of people now, and he's having problems with this. So we need to fix it on our end, because I try to help Isaac as much as possible. He's a big advocate of my training, and I'm a huge advocate of his customer service and laptops, because they're phenomenal. So, to cover your question, Gary, you bought a CARDAC 2 in 2017. You're wondering why you needed it for a 2015 Ultima CVT. So to do a CVT complete replacement procedure, the post-replacement procedure needed when you replace one of those, that's a version 8, a generation 8 CVT. It requires you to take information that comes on a CD with the transmission called an IP write configuration and install that into the TCM. In order for that to happen, you have to have either Consult 3 Plus, which uses the factory Nissan interface, or Consult 3 Plus R2R edition, Right to Repair edition, which does allow you to use a J2534 device. The reason why you would have to have a CARDAC 3, because the only J2534 device that functions properly with the CARDAC or with Consult 3 Plus R2R is the CARDAC 3. So the CARDAC 2 architecturally is perfectly stable and suitable to do that job, but unfortunately on Nissan's end, the only device that's compatible with their software is the CARDAC 3. It has nothing to do with the age of the vehicle, it has to do with the process that needs to be completed for that particular one. That being said, you could use a CARDAC 2 with NERS to program a 2020 Nissan, no problem. So it's not about the age of the vehicle, it's about the particular process and the requirement and then the software needed to perform those. So that's a whole lot of going around. The other reason that you would have limitations with CARDAC 2 is its ability to only function across 2 CAN channels. So one CAN channel would be pins 6 and 14 on the DLC, and another one would be like pins 3 and 10, like a chassis expansion bus on GM or something. Now, lots of manufacturers are now adding additional channels of CAN on the DLC because there are other pins available. So, for instance, this is not an exact example, but you would have pin 6 and 14 would be your normal CAN bus. Chrysler, for instance, pin 6 and 14, then 3 and 10, and then maybe 2 more pins. Pick 2, like 8 and 16. Those aren't it. 16's always power and 8's unassigned currently. But if you just picked another set of pins, it's 3 CAN channels. Your CARDAC 2 only supports 2, period. So that third channel, it wouldn't even be able to communicate with that entire network of modules, which could be mission critical modules or something else required on some kind of gateway. So because of that, hardware itself limits you from the ability to communicate with the vehicle properly. So unfortunately, yeah, there will be limitations coming up, so you would need to expand to a CARDAC Plus 3 is my recommended unit to everyone. The M is available, and then you can add the Mega CAN, but then you have 3 CAN channels when the CARDAC 3 comes with 4. Plus, it has the ability for flexible data rate CAN, diagnostics over internet, DOIP, all kinds of other protocols that are out there, or soon to be out there. Some that are made into the Card Act 3 that aren't even available yet. That wraps up this week's Tech Questions Quickies. Remember, if you've got questions, please send your questions to TechQuestions at l1training.com. And if I get your questions, I'll make a video and hopefully answer them for you. All right. Thanks, guys. See you next week.